This set of homework is other trig ratios on the unit circle, and I will refer you back to when we covered sine and cosine on the unit circle because all of these were covered in those videos, so you may want to review those before doing this homework. Additionally, we have a few problems that aren't covered there, such as evaluate 8 pi over 5 with a calculator. Now, if I bring up my calculator, you'll see I do not have a cosecant button or a secant button or a cotangent button. I do have buttons that look like this, but this is not the reciprocal of sine. This is the inverse of sine. This is a special function. We'll talk about it later. Inverse sine of x is very different from the reciprocal of sine x. And this is what we're actually looking for, is the reciprocal. Now, if you want to consider it that way, we could either write it as cosecant 8 pi over 5 would be the reciprocal of sine 8 pi over 5. So to punch this in my calculator, we've got a couple of options. I can, first off, we need to change my units. As you can see, I was using degrees earlier, so I'm going to change my mode to radians and come back here, and I'm going to take 1 divided by sine of 8 pi divided by 5. That'll give me the whole answer all at once. That gives me that cosecant of 8 pi over 5 is equal to negative 1.051. Now, point on rounding. This is an approximation. This is not exact. Watch what the instructions tell you to round to. If it tells you to round to 2 decimal places or 4, personally I prefer you go at least 6 decimal places if you're in the middle of a calculation. Because if I'm sending something to Mars and I don't use enough decimal places, I'm going to be off by thousands of miles by the time my probe gets to Mars. So we need to use as many decimals as we can, as far as we can, and then round for the very final answer. Another option for doing this would be to do it like I started, sine of 8 pi divided by 5. This is the sine of 8 pi over 5, and I can use the reciprocal button, and what that will do is take my previous answer and take the reciprocal of it. And that reciprocal button is right here, x to the negative 1. And when I hit that reciprocal button, it brings up ANS. That means my previous answer. I want to take the reciprocal of it. And I get the same negative 1.0514622224. One more question, type of question that's in this homework. What is the cotangent of theta if the terminal side of theta intersects the unit circle at x equals 14/23 in the fourth quadrant? Okay, so we've got an angle theta somewhere. Let's start off with this x equals 14/23. That's about a little more than half. And if I draw the vertical line x equals 14/23, it hits the unit circle here and here. So my theta is either going to be this angle or it's going to be this angle. And that's why we needed the additional information that this theta is in the fourth quadrant. So we're looking at the bottom point right here, and we know that the x value is 14/23. Don't know what the y value is, and we'll find out if that's important here in a minute. Our definition of cotangent using the unit circle is it's the reciprocal of tangent. So cotangent theta is the reciprocal of tangent theta. Well, tangent theta is y over our x, so that must mean that cotangent theta is going to be the x over the y. So I guess we do need to know what y is. We can use our Pythagorean theorem. Any point, the x squared value plus the y squared value is going to equal 1. So looking at this, we have 14/23, the quantity squared, plus y squared equals 1. So that means y squared is equal to 1 minus 14/23, the quantity squared. Now 14 squared is 196, and 23 squared is 529. So that means y squared is equal to, let's see, 529 over 529 minus 196 over 529. So y squared is 333 over 529. And if we take the square root of that, we get y equals plus or minus square root of 333 over 529. And well, we know 529, the square root of that's 23 because that's how we got it in the first place. That means this is divisible by 9, so this is 3 square root of 37. Again, fancy calculators do that for you. So this is our y value. So finally, to find cotangent, which is x over y, that's going to be 14/23 divided by 3 square root of 37 over 23. Multiply both top and bottom by 23, and that'll get rid of our fractions, gives us 14 over 3 square root of 37. If you do need to rationalize your denominator, you'd multiply the top and bottom by square root of 37, and that would give you 14 square root of 37 over 111. But I forgot to take into consideration the fact that we're in the fourth quadrant. So that means this y value is actually negative 3 square root of 37 over 23. So this is negative, and our final answer is negative